Hello, and welcome to another episode of our little chit chat here on Crazy Hank with Jamie and David as always. And we're
Hello.
going to talk about a very fun and a very special episode of
Peak of the
Survivor
season.
this week.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. That's going to be the
All
peak of
right.
the season.
If you're happy with this, then still you can still be blown away with more.
It was a happy episode.
It was interesting. Yes, there were things to
Yeah, it was
see.
both.
I'm just
feel
not.
like it was both.
I wasn't a Shan fan, and
Right.
not my thing.
So it was easier. It was easier on you. I was, but I also, I don't know. My heart wasn't like attached to her to win at the end, but it was still like there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. And she just seemed to we've noticed it as it was going on, right? And the editing has shown it that she's been rubbing people the wrong way. And so while she's really, really smart, and it seems like the fandom's pretty upset it was her, they're looking at her like she's another Tiffany she was just too good for the game, and they just couldn't respect her and they had to get her out. And I think she's not quite a Tiffany for me. I see.
Yeah, I don't think she has the I don't think that she has the strategy and the plan that Tiffany had. It was a fair amount of luck that came her way.
Right.
Please, without Ricard, she'd have been out like 4 weeks ago.
That's what I think.
I think you're giving her way too much credit.
Maybe
she couldn't win a challenge. She wasn't a deep thinker.
Her biggest moves, I really think her biggest moves were being able to convince people to hand them whatever like idol or whatever they had, basically.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, I'm just going to hold this for you. She could convince them to do that and then vote them home. And that's where she started to really like barrel down this. She's going to be a star. But past that, she wasn't able to.
But in both cases, it was Ricard's plan that she was executing.
But I think because she was she was able to get that away to hold it.
Just to get them. Exactly. I'm not even saying her use of them was definitely more Ricard, or at least half Ricard.
Right.
But her obtaining them,
which was whatever
her ability was to obtain them, to get someone to trust her, to hand over their idol, to prove that they can be trusted. That's not something most people can get away with. But past that, I can't give her a ton of credit for doing a bunch of stuff on her own.
No, and did she win a single challenge? Even make an effort in a single challenge? Did she even come close?
No, but she really knew how to use foreshadowing by singing out loud.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, when you look at like a Sandra who never won a challenge either,
right?
But Sandra was a master, and she had 4 or 5 people working for her. And with Shan, and maybe it was just the edit, but I had this idea that she thought she was slicker than she ever was.
But I think
I definitely think that she believed that because. And let's be fair. Now, it doesn't say much about their team or their tribe, but their tribe, they kept having to go and vote somebody out, and it kept not being her. So every week she was at tribal, every week she was on top of the votes. She didn't go home. It gave her the idea that I've really got this game pegged. I know what I'm doing.
She really had that confidence, and getting them to give that let her hold the idol gave her that confidence. And I don't think she was able to understand how much the strategy game was Ricard.
Right.
I mean, when you even look at her relationship with Deshawn, the man sat her down and start to finish explained to her how to handle him, and she still screwed it up. And ultimately, he's the one who pulled the cord on her.
I don't think she screwed up because it screwed up her game, but I don't think she screwed up because I'm trying to explain it. I don't think she screwed up by telling her number one ally what was going on. It did screw her up, but it wasn't bad thinking to necessarily to say, I'm going to let my ally know what's going on and then I'm going to save them. What the mistake was, it wasn't even really going and telling him. She made 2 mistakes in that moment. It was how she told him. Because one, that whole little discussion of, well, we're going to have to cut each other at some point, but I'm not going to vote for you this week. She should have not said that sentence. That
And
was stupid.
And she shouldn't have got so emotional about it, as if her back was against a wall, that she, you have to do that in a different, because then it made it look like she's hurting because she has to choose sides, right? That makes Ricard even more paranoid.
Right. If she would have told him what was going on.
Ooh, I got to tell you something, because, you don't even know what they told me. Let me tell you, right? How you would go up to your friend and tell them, we got to make a plan.
I overheard them saying this, or so said that they said this, but not that you were part of that discussion.
And then you're crying
You had
and crying.
nothing to do with it. Because she flat out showed him, this is the numbers I have. This is the alliance that will back me. You're not going to go home this week, but you're not going to make it to the end.
Right.
Because
You're on
I'm
the
always
short
going
list.
to have these guys. So it was the absolute best call he could have made given the circumstance. And then to add even more wondrous toppings to this great cake he's already working up, Erica's like, we should split these. We should split these votes because it could be me going home. And it was brilliant that she did that, because it forced everyone to play a card. So now everyone knows who is on what side, and now Deshawn and Danny can no longer protect themselves from Liana.
No, and absolutely, it won't even matter. There's nothing they can say that will make it okay with Liana, because it was almost her, right?
Eric, I think that Erica adding that little dash in there that she did it sealed the deal on that alliance not being able to go forward. I think she blew that alliance up.
Well, and the coming attractions tended to indicate that she's pretty upset about it.
Well, right. And she's going to be, because she really, really liked her. She didn't want her to go.
Okay.
And the saddest thing about all of this is she's the one that stands to lose the most from this whole situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing was her fault. The whole thing was her fault, because she went and told Shan. If she had not said anything to Shan about how they were going to go out, it was, she told her to try to save the situation, and literally she caused it. She caused it.
She was trying to play broker in the middle between the boys and Shan. She knew as soon as Shan found out they were doing that, if she had told her, Shan would turn on all of them.
Right.
So she chose Shan over the boys. There's no way for her to win on that.
And once Shan went on the walk with Liana, that was the end of her and Ricard.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time, because he realized right away that those two were tight. He realized right away they shared a bond he couldn't share. And he was absolutely mindful of the fact that Shan was going to have to go home. He's been saying it for 3 weeks.
Okay. And I want to talk about this bond that these two ladies have, because I remember that episode, and that did not come across in editing at all.
Right. They
I agree with that, but subsequently, both of them have reiterated.
Both of them said in their confessionals last night, or their one-on-ones, that that was the pinnacle of their game this far. That was the moment.
I think that,
because they shared some sort of summit tears. And I wish they would. I know I want to go back and watch that episode, because they don't show very much in the editing. Yeah, because they made it look like Liana was just like, and Shan was spilling too many beans.
I think that walk up the hill is something like 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it's a handful of hours. So they obviously were having some pretty meaningful conversation before they reached the top of this hill. But it would be nice to see a little bit more of that to make sense of.
Yeah, because they made it edit like it wasn't a love match. You know what I mean? So
I have to say, and not being here last week, it was a hard thing to be able to I know I just hogged the chat room, but it was it would have been really hard to try to write it out. But last week when Ricard and Shan used the extra vote to go after Nasir, and at surface level, it doesn't really make sense. She didn't really have to use that extra vote. If she really had an idea of which way it was going to go, she should have known she didn't need to use it.
And why split them?
But
I still don't get it.
Absolutely stupid.
But was it stupid? Yes, by her. But was it so stupid for Ricard, who got her to let go of her advantage?
Right.
Oh yeah, he did.
Right.
He was already.
That's what I'm saying. He was plotting her demise 3 weeks ago.
Right.
He could sense how close they were, and he just wasn't going to share the same bond or the same shared experiences that they did. And
And truth be told, honestly, I can't feel, because this is something we talked about where we had, you've got 4 people trying to form an alliance on the island in the same way that the Cookout formed an alliance, ensuring that there will be a black winner at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The difference with the Cookout and Big Brother is there's all these different rooms to hide in, and they were never seen together. In this situation, that's not going to work. They have to be seen together multiple times. It's just they're all right there. There's no way around it. So they may not explain it in a confessional, but there's no way that his own 2 eyes couldn't say, like, these guys are spending a lot of time together. I need to keep that on the back burner and watch it. I don't think it's a secret alliance.
But
no. And they showed many times this week those scenes where you see Ricard and he's just watching. Right.
And by the way, can tell what they're saying.
Right, reading their lips
because he reads lips.
And so I really wonder if and he's probably better at body language. He walks, and they went and did that whole thing where they went and met by themselves. He knows that was something that existed before he was pulled in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He's not dumb.
Well, and their commitment to ensuring there would be an African American winner was never the way the Cookouts.
No, it's not.
The Cookouts were 5 people who put their personal game, subserviated it completely to the cause, and any one of them would have probably gone home willingly if they had to make sure that happened. Whereas these 4 struck me as, that'd be cool, but I'm not going to screw my game up for it.
Well, there's a lot more dialogue this week, wasn't there, with Deshawn and her talking about, like, okay, that's something that's really, really important to me. But when you're facing it head on and you realize that if I go for this, I kind of have to let go of my own game. Can I do that? I'm here for a reason. I don't blame anybody for wanting to form an alliance that way, and I do not blame anybody for wanting to pull away from their alliance for their individual game. That is life-changing money.
But it was like
it's not a weekend vacation. It's life-changing.
But again, that's why what the Cookout did was so incredibly special.
Right.
And they didn't. By the way, the Cookout members didn't even really like each other at the beginning. They seem to now.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But I'm saying, like Derek,
they don't have to see him laying around all the day.
They were definitely not getting along.
Right.
And yet they found this way to work together. I mean, you're not going to see that again, I don't think.
No, that was a very special alliance among alliances, in games that have alliances. Do I think that there's no way that Deshawn and Danny and Liana go forward? Sure they could. But, I mean, we are really talking about something that I think would be way too big of a struggle in the long run.
Well, it's the 3 of them against all the rest of them, right? And Leanna's mad. So they have to literally go off the 3 of them and squash all this beef, which will then just make them a bigger target.
I don't think Deshawn has it in him. I think he's one of those, don't tell me what to think, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Once
he's going to get real defensive about
whatever angry stuff Liana has to say, which you would think you would go, she's kind of justified in it. I got to take my beating. Mm-hmm. He's not going to see it that way. He's going to take it personal, and he's going to go that she has to go home.
Probably.
Right. No, I really feel like they're going to turn towards her on this one.
Xander and Ricard, I'm telling you,
and she's going to have to.
Coming.
If Liana can see that, if she can actually see the strength that those two coming together would actually be, she could put herself in there for at least this week. For at least this next
I think they're going to align with Danny and Deshaun. So I think it's going to be the four
You
dudes.
think Xander and Ricard will align with them? They might. I don't. For
at least a couple weeks.
There's no way that Heather and Erica aren't getting pulled in on one of them. It's just
if you got the four guys, you don't need them.
Yeah, but those four guys are going to be hard to beat at the end. But Heather and Erica,
but they're like meat shield for each other, so maybe they would think it like that.
If you're Xander or Ricard, you're going, look at all these individual immunities we've won. Deshaun and Danny have won some
good,
but not
good team.
At the end of the day,
they never went to title council not once as a team.
It's usually a stamina competition. It's not usually something that a big person is going to have an advantage in, or a puzzle, right? So, I mean, meat shields.
I think even if you took, I think that if you took a little bit of the competition and set it aside, because the meat shield thing is definitely a tool a lot of people will use to protect themselves, but it is also the opposite for, I'd say, the other half, where if you have another person that's as much as a physical threat as you, they aren't the meat shield for you. Maybe you're the meat shield for them, or you don't know which stands where, so it's easier to just get rid of it altogether and know where you stand. It depends on how is Danny going to do that? That's what I want to see. How is Danny going to play his next move? Because so far we have really not seen him do much of anything in the socializing of the game.
And that is why he's winning right now.
Week after week.
Nobody's mad at him.
And week after week, his name never comes up with anyone. Nobody. So he doesn't have that intimidation factor that some of the professional athletes that have come on the game have had on their back.
Right.
Or right away, it's like, first of all, they're not going to quit.
Downside, though, that Danny's facing is if he doesn't get something good on his resume, like ASAP, besides winning competitions at the beginning of the game, he's not going to win against Ricard right now.
Could he be doing a Xavier and he's just hanging back, dropping competitions? He's not on anyone's radar, and then he wins out.
Okay, so I could believe that up until this week, but with this week of his alliance fracturing, if we don't see him now turn it on next week, it wasn't there. But I'll give you that because I've thought that too. Because he hasn't had to, right? He's been comfortable and safe every week. But I don't think he's had a.
I think he's got one more week. Leanna is going to yell at Deshaun and yell. Deshaun is going to get mad at her, and Leanna's going to run right to Erica, who's going to hug her and go, "Yes, we girl power. We're going to be great." Okay, and they might even drag Heather in, but I don't know. And then Ricard is going to sit back and watch the whole thing and go, "I got to work with Xander, and we'll pull Deshaun, and maybe it's Heather." Is their fourth. But the point is, Leanna's running right to Erica, you watch.
Right. She's not going to, she should, but she's not going to go to, she's not going to
they all want her gone. She's too smart. When she came up with that split the vote, and, you look at their face, Danny's like, you see, she's too smart. Like, she figured that out, that we got to do that. And she's not wrong. That makes perfect sense.
And she also turned back time with a hammer.
And screwed him up.
The hammer.
Took his meal, right? Or he was upset about it.
Yeah. Right? His win. That win was a serious thing. Win. So, okay, I'm going to see if I think I have some notes on here, though. One thing is that this is where I think Danny's game gets a little bit rough, is because so far Deshaun has gotten the edit on the hissy fits, but there's been these little inklings of hissy fits that is coming from Danny's end too. Like, he's not just sitting quietly. Like, when he loses something, I think at the beginning of the game when something was lost, or looked like he wasn't going to win it, it was just, that's how competitions go. And he had a good spirit about it. But I think as he's gotten hungry and tired, and the human part of him, not the trained athlete part, is starting to come out, because he's getting damn salty every time he doesn't win. He gets so pissed about not getting food.
Well, the man is hungry.
He wants to look at the camera and be like,
really?
He probably weighs 270 pounds and he's, eating.
He was
what is that?
And he's like, but
One
he's
cup
got.
of rice.
what, 3 different people that haven't had a single challenge and haven't had any extra food, and Ricard picks those 3 people, and then Danny gets all salty, and he's like, "I see what he's doing there. He is trying to work towards the jury."
Jury!
And he's getting all mad. It's like, "Yes,
But wait a minute,
that's
but here's
what
the
he
thing.
should do."
But Danny's too dumb because he's only thinking jury. What he should have been also thinking,
Right.
or he's trying to make an alliance with them because none of them people are in my alliance. Well, except for
Right.
Shan. But
Right.
but he didn't even say that. That wasn't even on his radar.
Yep,
That they
and
could
then,
actually
you
be
know, and that's where
strategizing with them.
that's the first time we actually remember the first time we heard Deshaun, like, really kinda speak his piece on something. We're like, "Oh, I think I might kinda like this Deshaun guy," because it was Danny throwing a hissy fit about the time turning and
Right.
Deshaun being like, "This is the
Yeah.
game. This is what we signed up for."
Yeah.
So, though he may not be a star in the, in the middle of irritating everybody, I think that he has the capability of really getting underneath people's skin, and I don't know. And unless his resume just gets, like, crazy with competitions on the way out, I definitely see Danny sitting at the end. I don't know if he'd be able to take the
Well,
win.
it depends on who he's with.
Yes.
Right.
If he can somehow drag Heather and Erica, I think he's
If it was,
got a
well,
great
even
shot.
But
if
to
it's him
be
and
fair,
Deshaun,
like, I think any of them could win against Heather and Erica right now.
right?
Agreed. No, that would be the perfect setup if you were.
Yes.
If he's sitting against Deshaun, he might have some of his people that are a little bitter that at Deshaun.
Right,
And
so he can
maybe
kinda
he
throw
gets
the
Well, and you might
attention
them,
that
but
way.
and you might also play the, I got Deshaun to do all the dirty work. Look, I got him to take the
yes,
blame for
exactly.
Sean.
Yeah.
It was my plan, but
If he can
Right.
make that argument, absolutely.
Right. Yeah,
But,
that would be a good one there.
but I don't know if he
Um,
wins against.
against Ricard, I think if Ricard is sitting there, he wins at this point.
yeah, I don't think he could win against
Dude,
Ricard.
He just has to give him that look because he's got like the best looks when he looks at
The
people.
side
right?
eye? Are you talking
Oh
about
my
that
God.
side eye?
He's just really like he is. It's like he's got X-ray vision or something. He's just like right into him.
I totally didn't like him like the first 3 weeks, and he has grown on me every
Same.
week. He's
But now
I
you-
mean, I could see him playing an all-star season for real, right?
I'm just
Because I think
saying. We don't have the official word yet, but I'm just saying Ricard is a Slytherin, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can't disagree at all. Nope.
And I'm proud of that. Thank you, Ricard. Yeah, I really enjoy him. In fact, I did make him my new MVP, so I will be rooting for him every week, and I hope that's all the way to the end. We'll see.
I got to do my picks.
Oh yes, got to do your picks for next week.
Gotta do the picks. I
so
would also like to just throw out there really quick, if you wouldn't mind. I just want to say, not that the editors are going to ever hear me say it, but I'm putting it out there anyway. This episode, the editing on this episode was so phenomenal because it's not that there was 50,000 different things happening at once, but they were able to take this very small thing and like present the series of events in such a way that even though I knew, you guys knew, we all kind of knew Ricard was going to probably turn on Shan before vice versa. When he went and said, "And that's why I'm going to go after Shan," I'm like, "Oh, like it's happening." It's happening.
It was good. It was good. The time is now because it's a game of chicken, right? And they kind of admitted that to each other. It was so weird. But.
The editing that they're doing this year and the format that they're choosing to share these storylines with us, I think it's the fundamentals are still there of what we've always kind of liked of how they present it, but there's these little tiny turns that they're taking.
No,
like
it
always kind of keeps you going, is this really the way it is, or is there something else? Because they have found a way without distracting you from the core of the game to rearrange how they tell the story.
Sometimes their editing feels so heavy-handedly misdirected, right? They're tuning it on purpose. It's not even clever. This season, they're doing it. They're leading in these different, but it doesn't. It's not telegraphed. It's not so obvious,
the use
right?
of the flashback has been great this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they go, and here's what kind of precipitated that, and they show it to you.
A lot
And
has
so
changed
far,
during the years of Survivor, 20 years.
Do you know what's interesting? And I just want to raise it is the fact that it seems like this week the game stopped being about what you had in your pocket and was all
Right.
about personality and interpersonal relationships.
Which is part of why it was such a great episode.
Which is why it was great. And it's
Yep.
it's kind of like, we don't need 19 idols, Jeff.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what? But you know what? Xander still hasn't had to play his idol.
Has his.
And you know what? He's played a masterful game as far as knowing what to do with his stuff.
Yeah.
He's made some really bad mistakes when he's had opportunity.
Yep.
That's what she said to me right there.
I was there when she said
100% I did it. But yeah, no, he has really impressed us, I think, if you look at what we've seen from the first episode to now. And he's doing well. I mean, that first challenge for reward, they start with that thing with the rope and they're all tangled and they have to untangle. He's not stupid. What was he throwing that on purpose? Do you think?
Maybe.
Super. No, I think he has moments where he's not the brightest.
He's sort of like savant, right? Like
it's like he has moments of brilliance and moments of complete and utter stupidity, and I can't understand it.
I kind of identify with that.
I absolutely feel that like he is one end or the other. Like there's not a lot of like gray area with him. Like he's either just like so on the ball and just duping everybody, or he's very like surfer boy. And I think maybe it's just his voice. Maybe it's just the way he speaks.
Maybe he
and
thought
his hair.
Maybe
and his hair.
He's got the Superboy hair going.
And his vacant stares off into the sea.
With only 8 people, maybe he was taking a bet at, because we know he can do strategy and think things out, right? And maybe he's thinking, okay, there's 8 of us. It's probably going to be a reward where one person wins and they have to get to pick 3 people to go with them. I have a 50-50 chance of going on reward anyway, but I can save my energy for immunity, and maybe I don't need to throw it in their face again that I can win another trap.
He seems like he's capable of thinking that far ahead, so
I
wouldn't put it past him. But also, can we talk about how Liana just hauled? I don't even know how Ricard caught up with Liana, because at the beginning she was like a mile ahead of everybody.
Yeah, she was. But that puzzle, and I have to say that
puzzle together in
that puzzle was so cool. I thought, have we seen that one before? I mean, we've seen the 3D, but I don't remember a starfish. I thought it was really pretty.
No, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really cool looking.
I really liked the aesthetic of that starfish.
It was really really cool. But I mean, when you have that's such a risky challenge, right? Like not specifically that challenge, but that reward. It's such a risky reward. We have seen many people
picking the people to go with.
We've seen people make their game and totally lose their game because of the choices they make in that very moment.
And did you see while the 4 were sitting there, Ricard and Shan were super talking, and so were Heather and Xander, but it didn't seem like Heather and Xander ever picked up that these 2 are having a private conversation. And they know they're together, so why would you give them more time to sit and talk together? Unless they're totally cool with them, in which case.
And maybe they don't really. I mean, maybe there were discussions before.
Because they didn't even go away from each other. They were like sitting right there all around.
And there's this weird thing. There's this weird thing that's happening too. So when you watch next week, I don't know how much like just sitting around the campfire, people making eye contact shots we're gonna get. But there's this funny thing that has happened, because the thing that we've all been complaining about is the fact that there's 100 idols. There's 100 advantages. There's so many things. And so it was really irritating at first. It took away from the storyline of these people's like emotional connection with other people. And then you're like, oh, but now anybody can do this and just go find another idol, and it ruins all of the no, okay, yes. But in the past 2 episodes, we have seen something so crazy happen that I don't think any of us suspected that this is how it would go. There are so many idols out there. There's so many idols. There are so many advantages that nobody is willing to make a move because everybody else has something. Yeah. And so the way they're kind of like the first season where we started getting these different voting brackets that were happening, and it kind of changed how we voted in the game. now there's this new thing that's coming in. It's sort of like, it is annoying, but it's also sort of refreshing because you're really watching people having to go, okay, but if this happens and then this happens, we got to flush this and that undoes this. And then the puzzle is much more complicated. Silence.
No, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about how much of this was orchestrated by production. Because, okay, beginning of the season, we have the 3 teams. One team never goes tribal, not one time, and the other team is completely decimated, right? They go to tribal every time. They're cannibalizing each other. Okay.
Yes.
During that time, where were the advantages? They weren't with the team that was winning everything. So it makes you wonder, but that's what made it interesting, because they were losing power, but they had these, so it kind of kept everything kind of neutral,
that's
right?
What I mean. It's like everybody was afraid of making a swooping move.
So do you think production did that on purpose?
Well, you know what it helped eliminate? This is one thing it helped eliminate.
Were you on the grassy knoll? Do you know?
Do you know? One thing we were just talking about is that how refreshing it is that we're getting this new spin on editing, and we aren't getting this whole knowing what's going to happen before it happens. This is giving them the ability to disguise, like being able to tell the story without pointing the direction of what's going to happen before it happens.
But you know what? I think it's done a great job, because then when they did do a merge, you had this one tribe that seemingly would have had these amazing relationships. They could have just stuck together, and they would have been the cook. No, I mean, they wouldn't have been the cookout, but they would have been that strong.
They would have been solid. Yeah, they would have had enough numbers. Yep, they'd had enough numbers to basically rule the game from down to 4.
It's almost like the idols are becoming irrelevant. The last 2 of the last 3 people that went home, idols in the pocket.
Had idols in their pocket.
They've introduced them in a way that's interesting and unique and adds flavor, but also makes the players think and play harder. They have to strategize with those in play, and it's because everybody knows who has them. See, the question that Jeff asked was, how does everybody know what everybody has?
Right.
And so, everyone's doing some mental arithmetic.
Because you made us be able to, you made us have to admit that we have them in order to get them.
Exactly. And so I think
they couldn't even use them before they admitted that they had them.
But even the people who didn't get them that way were admitting what they had. It was
right. Well, those people were just doing poor gameplay.
If I got something, I'm not telling anybody, man. I'm just going to keep that quiet.
Well, and in previous years, that was the way to go. But I don't know now. I mean, now you use it as you're hedging your bets with this bigger thing on the that you have in your pocket.
And I think a lot of people use that. I mean, occasionally we've seen somebody has something, and then they go to an ally and say, hey, I found this thing. But what seemed to be happening is people were trying to create allies by telling them that they had this thing. Well, I thought if I was honest with this person, then they would be able to trust me, and then they'd be my ally in my alliance. Like, no.
Okay,
you don't have to do it that way.
So then what forced that? What forced people to feel like they had to instantly try to make alliances? Right. Was it because those first few episodes, they were sending people from each tribe out together? And if you weren't picked for that, you didn't have that alliance. So you're already in your head going, holy crap, those people could have an alliance. And it makes you a little bit more to have to scramble to get that alliance. You have to use whatever you have. Whatever they've done this year, I'm telling you, after year after year after year of twists and idols and things that don't work or that just don't get played correctly or just whatever, they have, at every point, it's like they've balanced for this or that contingency. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well done on them.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're giving them way too much credit. I think they've gotten a little lucky.
Well,
I think a lot of it is luck because people, I don't think that they could plan for people to use their idols this way or not use their idols this way.
Right.
But I think what's happened is they had one idea, they put all this stuff out there. We were getting that pan out. We were like, ugh, I don't like it. But then something accidentally started to happen.
Right. Because any other season, what you had was, I'm using my idol. I'm using my idol too. I have
Right.
the ultimate nullifier idol, and I'm going to play that and
Well,
nullify your idol.
What was the first day that they got idol? The idol didn't happen until they got the. What was the first? Was it when they had to do all three things?
No, there was an idol before that.
Okay, what
Nasir
was that one?
found it, right? Was it the one that Nasir found?
Was there
Was
one
he
in
the
each?
first
And
one?
there was the one in each camp,
There was one in each camp.
and only Nasir found his. Gosh, I can't remember. That was so long ago.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so I'm wondering how far in that was.
No, because we had JP. JP found one. Or was it? See, I don't remember if his might have been an extra vote.
Did. Yes, he did. He got both.
See, there's too many.
There
was
both.
too many.
But at the very beginning, they were doing that thing where they were sending those people off, and I just think was like maybe only 2 or 3 episodes.
I thought that was a good concept.
Right. It makes another level that you have
to the mountain. That was cool.
It turned it from a 3D game to like a 4D game. Do you know what I mean? Because now you have another level of thinking, do these people already have an alliance because they went off together?
Classic idol. You've got classic idol. You've got extra vote.
Yeah.
You've got you need
mystery
to
date.
Yeah, you've got that you have to say something to get something idol.
Right.
And then you have the meet me at the mountain decision.
Right, where you had to say if you were going to risk it or not risk it. Right. There was a lot.
So now already you have 4 different constant variables that anybody could have at any given time.
I can't believe you just said classic idol. I just wanted to channel my inner Walter White and go, do you really want to live in a world without classic idols? Which was, by the way, the dumbest line in that series.
Every episode has one, I'm telling you.
But that one was the worst.
I don't remember him saying that. I probably wiped out everything.
Do you really want to live? They were going to kill him. He says,
he didn't say anything.
Want to live in a world without classic Coke?
Oh, classic Coke. Got it.
You're just a tepid cola or something. It was really bad
classic Coke.
I'm right. You know why it didn't sound like a stupid line? Because I completely agree. Classic Coke is where it's at. All other colas are bowed down.
There's that part. It's a fact.
Yeah, but you think the gangster's going to go, yeah, so I won't put one in your head now because you're Coke. I mean...
You never know. You never know.
Well, no, you know what? Now I'm filing that away just in case I ever need to pull it out when I'm about to get whacked. So thanks,
That's
David.
What she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Okay, that's 3. All right.
Also, can we talk about the reward? Can we talk about what the reward was? Yeah, we got to pull people to eat, but again, Jeff. Just overselling the hell out of the reward.
Stars.
Pizza under the stars. So like we're saying we get to like eat outside again.
Which is what we do literally every day. We have every meal under the stars. Thank you very much, Mr.
Can I have a meal in a room? Can I have a meal in a room?
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. Should have been like meal not under the stars.
A place with a nice ambiance, some good people, you know.
It should have been pizza in the hot tub. Boom.
Oh man, see that?
Right?
And I think it's really funny.
But that must be an Oklahoma thing.
Therapeutic and like it's so good on their aching joints and they can eat all the pizza. Awesome.
You know, like a trend on Facebook and Twitter over the past couple months has been like there's like a statement and then red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
You know? And one of the most popular ones I saw for a while was like the red flags of a new employer. And it was all like, we have pizza parties. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
If you don't have happy hour on Friday afternoon.
It's a red flag, guys. Run. It's a pizza under the stars. Get out. That tells you something.
And seriously, where? I can't even remember. Where are they? Why do I not know this?
Aren't they on their regular island?
Well, they're on a different side because they have like a whole little
where in the world are they?
Oh, it was an island in Fiji, was it not? I believe it was.
Okay, so do you think Fijian pizza's any good? It's going to be shit. Come on.
Listen, pasta
is not like you down to the bejesus and never say, I'm ordering pizza from the Fijian place.
Listen.
Come on. No one's doing that.
Pasta's from China. Maybe they stole the pizza from the Fijians. You don't know.
We don't know how far.
We don't know where the Italians
pizza has traveled. Yeah, what are the toppings going to be? I don't feel like there's a lot of pepperoni rolls hanging out in Fiji.
All right.
Let me just tell you. On this. I don't want it.
At this point,
Who
it's
the
a
hell
game.
put pineapple on the
When
pizza?
you're so hungry
It was me. I did it.
and you just need something good, they could whip out a toaster oven, a loaf of bread, and cheese, and I would be making
It
the
would be
best
amazing.
pizza ever.
What if they put
Do you know what I mean?
papaya on the pizza? And then
I
somebody
probably
took a piece that had more papaya than Shan's.
don't
right?
take a piece. Do not take a piece. And you know
Too
what?
soon.
And then
That's why you
Shan would
sent
be
her home.
very upset about the papaya.
I'm fairly certain that's why he sent her home, because she doesn't share her food.
Because she
You
doesn't
share
share papaya.
You share your food with the ones you love.
Well, she was a little angry about that.
She
That's
was.
She was
probably
a
what it
little
was.
miss.
No, she was hangry. That was absolutely, that could be a
It was
Snickers
this
ad.
much papaya.
That could be a Snickers ad. They could like buy that clip and just,
I'm just telling
Okay.
you, like a night out at the club and then like go into a sandwich shop or a pizza club afterwards. If you try to touch my food, I'm gonna bust
I'll
your
bite
ass.
your hand off.
I will bite your hand off. Like she was hangry. It's cool.
But what is that food of choice? It's not Vegeta pizza,
Never.
and it's not papaya.
Papaya.
Certainly not papaya, as I'm likely allergic. So no.
Oh. I
I'd be
don't know.
like, thank you
I
for
think
potentially saving my life by
at the-
stealing that off
at
my
the-
plate.
at the part of the game that they're in, for me, it would probably be nearly anything. Like,
Right.
it's not even something that doesn't
Yeah.
taste like rice and or fish.
Well, on
Food.
Ponderosa last week, do you guys ever watch the Ponderosa video?
I usually do. I haven't caught up yet.
I had every intention. I
I
had the
missed-
best of intentions.
I
Then
missed
I won't
Tiffany.
spoil much of anything, but like last week when Nasir and Evie were on there, they both lost 14 pounds.
Wow.
Okay.
So 14, I mean, it's been like 2.5 weeks.
But you have to think like how
that's
much.
a lot.
Nasir was a little doughy going.
Yeah. But how much of that is just out of dehydration? You're getting
It could be,
you're just
sure.
not hydrated enough. They probably come in and within a couple of days after they're just drinking normally, they'll probably be right back up to their weight.
I always love it
A
when
gallon
you
of
see
water
them.
weighs 8 pounds, 8.5 pounds.
It's a lot. I think that
So I don't think they're like dehydrated a gallon and a half of water.
Well, but I'm just saying, like when you start to replenish that stuff, the things in your system that
everything
your system
starts
was
coming
missing.
back. Get some more salt in your body. I always love when you see them as jury, you know, after they've gone to Ponderosa and they're a little bit cleaned up, you know, they look nice.
Like a normal person.
But then when you see them, you know, on finale night and it's
They
just
are
all
so
like,
gussied up.
and you can't even recognize some of them. I'm
Right.
like, whoa, sandwiches look great on you.
Heather's gonna be like that. Tiffany looked great. Oh, Tiffany had some snarky comments last night, didn't she? I don't think they're supposed to talk, but she could not help herself.
Yeah, she was talking right up there in the jury.
I know. Do you think how many times do you think Jeff threatened her? How many times did she get threatened to be sent to Big Brother? I'm sending you to Julie. I'm done with you.
Oh, because Julie doesn't play. Julie will just like, she probably like has like a zapper or something. She gets them.
Especially if you try to hug her.
Oh, 100%.
When there's a
she probably
pandemic.
has a freaking force field around her. It's just like if you get a little too close, it's like pinball bumpers.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just don't touch the chin butt. Like let Jeff do all the talking.
Air hug.
Air hugs only.
If it weren't for Corona, I would so be giving you a hug right now.
I would so be hugging you.
No, you
because
wouldn't.
I let my humans.
I love.
Oh, I wish somebody would have said that to her. No, Julie, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. Come on. Yeah, because that's what she's known for the 20 years before this season, right? With how she hugs the people because she loves
warm
them so
and
much.
bubbly.
Yeah, so fuzzy, so warm, and she's like a mom to everyone. Honestly,
she really is.
Do you need Oprah for that?
She's America's mother.
God. She's like America's weird aunt that never got married and chose a career and like doesn't have any kids. So she's the one that gives you the carton of cigarettes for Christmas one year, and you're like, I need to buy you a beer too, whatever.
She's the one that like when you try to like
in her mid-50s.
or you try to like hand her a baby and she goes, no thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thanks. I'm good.
If it wasn't for COVID, I'd be hugging the heck out of that baby right now.
I'd love that child if it wasn't for COVID. But it's really gross and just stay over there.
Julie Chen, we adore you. We really do. We really do.
Chen Moonves.
I don't know what I
We
would do.
appreciate your uniqueness, your fashion sense,
Your beauty,
your patience in home life,
your copious amount of faith.
Yeah,
that suddenly came out of nowhere.
And your Jesus love. All the Jesus love.
We love your Jesus love and your jeans and heels, girl. Your high ponies.
Oh, she's ready for a girls' night, I think.
She can pull off the jeans and heels, though.
She can. Absolutely.
I mean, there's no question.
Because she's like a Barbie doll. She doesn't move. She's like...
Right. There's not very many women over the age of 40 that can pull off the high pony and still look intelligent. It's just a thing. High ponies risk, like lowering your visual IQ.
You think so?
I think. Oh,
I think it's a distraction.
I've never figured out what the high pony does for me.
Well, it does this thing where it pulls your face back. It pulls all the wrinkles out. Yeah, it's pretty good for that.
I don't know if both hairs would go into the ponytail.
Shows off your bangles,
Oh yeah, so immunity. What do you guys think of the immunity challenge?
I mean, it's a classic.
It's a classic. Any surprises of who went out? I was surprised Leanna went out first, but was she going out first on purpose, or you think she didn't move out?
It's
hard to tell.
Challenge is such a to me. I think that challenge is like a crapshoot challenge. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't think it's particularly designed for one body type over another, or that anyone really has an extra edge over it.
For some reason, every time I see that where they're standing there and they're holding the ball on it, right? All I think of is that game we all played as a kid with the ball on the string that you have to catch it in the cup.
Catch it in the cup?
Can we make Survivor that? Because I would so win that. If I'm on Survivor, we have to have that challenge. Okay. So, so they have to stand there and they have to move down lower and lower. And Ricard really looked good there. He was he had a way to bend. Did you see how he's bending his feet? He was able to, I don't know. He's bendy.
Hey, his feet have done a lot of work for him already in this game. He's won 2 immunities because of his feet, his ability to hold on to things with his toes.
Yeah, so Ricard wins immunity, and so now he won immunity and he won the reward. I can see why they wanted to get him out. They should be afraid. They should be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Logically, he's the one to get rid of.
And he might be a good dancer too. I don't know. He might be also a good dancer. And then you can't beat him. So yeah, did you see when Ricard won? I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was great. I wish I would have taken a screenshot. When Ricard won and he comes over and he gets the thing, they shoot over to Danny for a second. Oh my God, he looked so sad. He looked like somebody just ate all his Halloween candy. He looked like, you know what I mean? He looked like the kid who dropped his ice cream cord and that Eddie Murphy made fun of and said, "You ain't got no ice cream."
Yeah.
He looked real sad. Real sad.
No, see, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. As far as I'm very curious to see, as he has to start playing the game a little more outwardly, how that's going to go, because he just wanted to get somebody out this week. It wasn't him or that person. He was in no danger.
And look at him. He wanted to call a play. He's like, "Run my play, coach. Run my play." Damn, my play's busted. I can't. Next week, coach. We're doing my play.
I think that if we actually see him feel the heat, like they were coming after him, we're going to get an entirely different person. I think the personality is going to completely...
I think y'all are cracking on my guy because I picked the winner and y'all know it.
Maybe. He might win.
It's my second winner. Let's have a moment of silence for Brad. Just remember Brad and how he should have won it all.
Wait till we see him finale night. What will he have in store for us?
No, he won't be there. He would
look exactly the same except for have a shirt on. He was there for like 4 days. He's
You
not
don't
going
think
to
you
look
don't?
any
Yeah, but you don't
different.
think he's gonna have like a makeover? Or is he gonna have like full afro? What's he gonna
Ooh,
do?
no, wait. What if he had it all combed back like a Lyle Lovett, like pompadour?
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
That's the
see.
dream.
Because you know what? They'll be having like hair and makeup and stuff like that. Because everyone's gussied up and they go out. They get to look extra special for
Yep.
live TV in the studio. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think he might look.
My money's on the pompadour, the farmer's pompadour.
Evie will for sure be wearing a bow tie. She never goes without
Absolutely.
one.
Of course.
But yeah. Anyway, it was a great episode. I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot.
I was too. Bye, Shan. Bye, Shan.
I
won't miss you at all.
I didn't dislike Shan. I didn't.
You were never as good as you thought you were.
And I'm just saying, this year there's a lot of good players. And right now, for one last thing, when you look at all the people that they've talked about, a lot of people still in the game have been talked about and considered a threat by somebody else. Right? They'll be looking to get rid of Ricard. They'll be looking to get rid of Xander. They'll be looking to get rid of Erica. They'll be looking to get rid of Deshaun or there's a lot of people who are unsure of other people. I think that's going to keep it interesting these next couple weeks, I hope.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some drama, and I think that some people are going to actually have to play their advantages. Like they may actually use them. We might see
I don't know. I think it would be.
We've seen one idol, right? And then one extra vote. Is that what has been used so far? Oh no, a roll of the dice.
There was an idol too, wasn't it?
Okay,
but the roll of the dice was the person that went home. The roll of the dice, that person went home anyway.
No, is that still in effect? The roll of the dice.
Who to what?
Or is it done?
I think it's still happening because he hasn't announced that it was. They usually say like this is no longer.
This is your last chance to use this. No one used it, so that is whatever.
Right.
So yeah, so everyone who's in the game still has the opportunity to do that. Why hasn't nobody has gone in?
Because nobody thought that they wouldn't go home with an idol in your pocket if you knew you were going home.
Well, yes, I understand that, but like Tiffany didn't use it. Nope. She wasn't super secure. Maybe she couldn't think that part.
Don't you give up your vote though, right? So maybe she thought she was on the winning side.
But if you think you're 2 against 3, which I think weren't they 5-5 last week? If you're 2 against 3 and you're trying to get a third, you might as well just go like if it's already 50-50, you might as well just take it into your own hands. I don't know.
Throw it out there. And that's another thing too that we forgot about on the idols and the twists is there for like how many episodes we had players that couldn't vote. They lost their vote because all 3 people hadn't found the idols. See, it's been chaos. Yeah. So it was very, very nice to have an episode that wasn't about all of the tricks and twists.
That was something that they did to balance it out. You were going to be less power while waiting to activate your idol, and then you would get massive power, which is great. But can you make it long enough to get the massive power?
That far?
Yeah. So again, great job of them. You think this is Jeff and Mike White's talks were all about this? Like just shooting back and forth. If you have to have this, you have to have something to balance it. Got to balance it. I don't know. They did a great job.
I don't know. I think the fun.
I think there's like a room full of idea people, and as soon as like Jeff and Mike went home early for the weekend, like they turned all the lights back on, and they're like, okay, they're gone. So this is what we really need to do.
Oh, see, I disagree. This is the first year Mike White's been involved, and I think it's gone really well. He should take all the credit.
I'll just say, I don't know if
Jeff will try to take credit, but we know he's been there all along.
I don't know if it has anything to do with him. I have no idea if they have new writers on staff. I don't know what it is, but the way that they have been able to narrate these stories this year, I really love how they've been doing it. It is a nice change. It's one of the changes I don't think are messy or cringy or it's
or
good.
just gimmicky and yeah.
I mean it's solid. But I think that a lot of that pulled from here comes the naysayer. No, I think a lot of that pulled from how they do like Australia Survivor. This is a little bit more how they kind of navigate their telling of like who each player is and these little special slow motion moments and stuff.
I love the editing and I love the way they're telling the story. I agree with that part. What I don't agree with is all these extra gimmicks at some point take away from the part of the game, at least I love, which is watching the people in the interpersonal relationships.
Oh, I don't think that either of us disagree with that. Yeah,
right?
I don't think that either of us
look,
disagree
Shan
with that.
got blindsided, and now Leanna's going to go batshit mental, and it's going to be super fun to watch. It's going to be compelling TV, right? And I don't need somebody to go, oh, but we're going to crack a thing and turn back time, and now Shan's back in, and
No, I agree, and I think that as far as like what we all really love about Survivor, I would say that pretty much most of the viewers would agree with that. We don't need all the twists and turns and extra idols and all of this and all of that in order to get the stories and the excitement when they have to sit down and make plans with Alliance, all of that stuff, like the core nature of the game.
So I feel
but
like they threw a bunch of crap against the wall.
I think all of the crap that they threw against the wall has accidentally fallen into
Okay.
pot.
Or maybe
it should have been a shit show.
Yes,
any other season it would have been.
They just had all of the tumblers all fell in line together, and
the first half
they built off each other.
Awful.
But maybe it is totally luck.
And that's what I mean. Where it was.
First half was awful.
That's why I like.
I think so.
You think so?
Sure, because I don't find it interesting to watch people sit and try to count who's got an idol and how are we going to counter that. To me, it's like it's what when they start. I was aligned with this person and they betrayed me, so that to me.
Sure,
I always
you underestimate them. It's way harder to count when you're hungry. Just saying.
I also always appreciate a night where they say, okay, we've got to do this, and then we do this, and then somebody goes, we have to split the vote because that's the logical thing to do to flush out that extra thing or whatever. That's where I feel it adds something to the game, because when we start having to split the vote, you have more people that are forced to show their cards, and it changes the direction after the torch goes out and they go back to camp. It stirs this game up into another direction.
No doubt you need a certain amount of twists, otherwise it would be very evident what's going to happen every week.
In abundance.
It's not good TV.
Because you would think that by now, with as many reality TV shows that we've seen in the last 22 years or whatever it's been, lots of people come on the show and have some sort of knowledge of something. They understand the word alliance. They understand even if they've never watched Survivor. And so, the game has to keep changing, because it would have been really bad if people figured it out, because they just did these right this season. They cannot do it exactly the same next season. Well, maybe they can, because like you said, it won't have aired yet. This one won't have aired. So we could see one more season like this. But then after that, people would
different players.
Could be totally different.
Completely turn into something different.
It could be hot garbage. We don't know. But then the year after that, we'll probably see people coming in expecting that.
Right. And I think they just were. I feel like at the end of the meeting, it was like, we know we want this to happen, and we want the game to go in this direction, sort of. And everything else was like, I don't know if it's going to work. Let's find out. Don't know if it's going to work. Let's find out. Don't know if it's going to work. Let's find out. And I think that's why there's so much of this, like, never been done before, different season. This is season 41. Pizza under the stars. Because it was like, now we have to sell this, like, so that they know we're intentionally just trying to shake the hell out of this game and change it, right? Just in case these are a flop. Like, we have to let them know that, like, we're just trying something different.
Do you think
something's going to stick and something's going to go? At the end of the season.
When so much is going, something's going to stick. You're right.
You're right. But what's going to go? What do you think what is the absolute, what one can you say you absolutely do not think they would bring back again if they were listening to the feedback and
the 3 activated idols?
That wouldn't come back?
And I don't think so, because I don't think, or they'd have to activate them a different way, more subtly. Because to me, it just, it was like, oh, you have to stab.
But that's the risk reward, right?
This.
That's the risk reward. You get this reward that gives you big power, but it really paints a giant target.
But in
Is it
practice,
worth it?
It was incredibly cringy to watch.
Imagine if just one of those people would have said, "I'm not doing this. It's going to put a target on me." That shuts everybody down, and nobody gets it. But
That's
nobody
true.
did that because they were
But
so
what
interested
if they continued to make it something along those lines where you had to activate other ones? They could find other ways to activate it that could still put people in danger. Like you automatically somehow get an advantage at a challenge.
Right.
Or you are pulled out of every challenge. You're the odd man out until
or what if they did, to activate this idol, you must intentionally throw the next challenge for your team.
Right.
That would be interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're not dependent on other
Then
people, you depend on yourself.
Because if they ever find out you did that,
right, you're still putting a target on yourself.
Yep.
So it still has the risk reward, but you're
Yep.
still in control of your own game. You don't have to involve anybody else.
Right.
So there's all sorts to watch people try to talk.
It would be, well, it'd be funny to see if anyone figured it out.
I have to say that I really loved when she's sitting there singing it, and like Heather's like, what's that? Are you saying something?
Are you singing? Oh, no, I was just thinking.
And weird, Heather, weird. Heather, why? Why were you like, are you singing? Yeah, that's what we call a sustained note in a repetitive pattern.
With some sort of...
it's just like an odd thing to ask. It's like, are you singing?
Unless because they're mic'd, or were they are they mic'd? Maybe she wasn't hearing it the way we were hearing it. Maybe there was ambient noise that she was like.
I wonder how they do that because they're not wearing mics. They must use like one of those things that they
like
use
a boom,
in a football game.
The big booms,
or like the Broadway one where it like
with
sticks
the mic
in your
in it
head.
that they aim it.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to be looking for that.
No, I think Ricard, speaking of things you hear or don't hear, I think he's got a huge advantage. And I think that's why he's one step ahead of everybody.
You think so?
Because I think he's walking around the beach and he's hanging out and sitting in the sun, but what he's really doing is he's eavesdropping visually with the conversation going on down the beach.
You love this about him, right? You love it.
I do because...
And they didn't tell us right away.
But then why did he tell them, though?
I don't know. Maybe
does anybody there know? I mean, yes, we saw the confessional where he said it, but
you know what? They probably don't. They probably don't know because not just because it could. I mean,
so
if
when
you
he
really
stands
laid
up
it
the
out,
last
not
night
just
and
because
says, "I was hard of hearing and I eavesdropped on all of your conversations."
That's why I heard exactly what you said about me. I did not appreciate it.
But then, what was her name? I cannot remember her name. She was like one of the youngest Survivor contestants, and she had the heart disease, the heart problem. Remember? And she had said like, I didn't tell any of you this because I didn't want you to use it for or against me in the game. I just, because it's that, and maybe that's part of it too. Like, here's a gay man who now, and now he has like a hearing disability. Like,
his spouse is transgendered and at home pregnant with
we can't
second child. And you're like,
now he has the advantages of being the first of something, and then there's going to be this rally for it. No, we can't let that happen. So maybe it's best to not tell people anymore that you have something that they could look at.
Right. Well, but
I love me some Ricard.
It's such a strong advantage if they don't know.
Right. And
because they could be standing 15 feet away from him, whispering, not realizing he knows exactly what they're saying.
And that's the difference from something like a heart issue or something. This is not something that's going to put you in a massive disadvantage of the game. If you can read lips, this is a benefit for this time.
I don't think people who read lips, it's quite one-on-one literal. I think they more get the gist.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because if they just move their head a little bit this way or that, you're losing something, but you're getting,
Right. He'll be able to tell if they say his name.
Yeah.
We hope so. What if there's somebody who starts talking to people and they start doing like this while they're talking? Is he going to want to vote him out?
Well, that's why I don't think anybody knows.
You gotta go.
Because otherwise I would be. I'd be walking around like this going.
Well, you wouldn't want to be like you're talking. You don't want it to look like you're whispering. So you don't want to really, but you got to do like a...
Well, and kind of like you were talking about with ambient
they don't
noise.
know. They don't know to do it.
You know, when we were just talking about the ambient noise and Heather asking her if she was singing, I
Yeah.
mean, that could really play a huge part in it
Yeah.
too, because you're
Oh, there
sitting
you
next
go.
to a fire. You've got the ocean behind you.
Mhm.
Both
Yep.
of those
There's
things
crew
could really
there, even if
cloud
they're
it.
being quiet. There's like, yeah.
Yeah, I would say then there is definitely advantage to be able to see what people are saying, because people will get comfortable enough to know they can't really hear me if I just say like a little thing.
It's not too late for you guys to change the record. I'm just saying.
I might have to if Deshaun keeps getting people all mad.
Deshaun.
So, where are we sitting
Deshaun
at?
has a little bit of an impulse control problem.
He just has to play it cool. And just like no big deal. Just no big deal. If he can do that.
Chill. Just chill.
He has to chill, yeah. Okay, so we did not speak about our fantasy league yet.
We can skip that for this week. That'd be good.
Oh, wow.
I continue to suck.
Yeah, okay, me too.
Mandy had the best week this week, so well done, Mandy.
Nicely done.
Yeah, nicely done. And then followed by Maggie, and then Jamie. You were third in the picks for this week.
Wow.
So,
which Jamie?
There's
like 4.
I've had the same one the last 3 weeks. It's not booted me up.
She pulled her crystal ball out. She did some divination, read the
I don't even know how many points she has because I don't want to do the math.
Oh, well, she did a good job. And then got you wait. Jamie, then came Randy, then me, then Kelly. You beat my sister this week. So well done, David. And she's usually right up there. I'm like, how is she picking so good? And if that's the case, she needs to go buy me some lottery tickets.
I told you how she was picking so good.
Come on. Christmas is coming, Kel.
Or maybe she should go be on Survivor.
Maybe. I told you our thing about how we were always going to go on Big Brother, right?
No.
Okay, so this is
why are you on Big Brother?
So 10 years ago. So I have 2 sisters that I grew up with in my house. Okay. One is 8 years younger than me. One is 16 years younger than me. I'm a blonde. One is a redhead. One is a brunette. I have blue eyes. One has brown eyes. One has green eyes. We look nothing like sisters. I have a sister who's shorter than me and very petite and athletic. And I have a sister who's as tall as you are, Jamie, and like played like softball, right? We're 3 different. I mean, like we do not look alike. We have mannerisms that are similar, but we don't look alike. And we all had different last names, and we lived in 3 states at the time. I was in Florida.
Ooh.
One of them was in Colorado. One was in Nebraska.
You guys could have been
and we were like, back when Big Brother used to do those cool switches. It was like, put the 3 of us in there. We're secretly sisters. No one would ever know.
And like pretend like you really just don't vibe with the others. Like
we wouldn't have to. We would know that we are literally together no matter what.
Right. But you could just, and if you just like.
But again, you're sisters. You'd betray each other for sure.
Oh, we 100% would not. No, not these things.
At the end of the day, there could be only one.
No way. Anyway, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so I wanted to look real quick and see. Sorry.
She's doing the math now for your score.
That's not fun.
I wish. I did it earlier. So I know where she's at, but so now in the lead is who's Carol? Is Carol Better Nichols? Every time, Carol. And then you are in second place now.
What?
Is this right? Wait, what am I looking at? No, never mind. I'm not on the right screen. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm in last place.
The wrong page. Sorry.
I'm behind people who haven't played for
First of all, I'm doing it on my phone, and the things you guys can testify. The things are so hard to like hit with your finger. They're
itty
bitty. Like, blow the screen up. It's so difficult.
Maggie is
in first place. Thank you very much. Followed by Mandy. My sister's just ahead of me. I am gaining on her. Ooh, I'm taking her down by Christmas. Well, the show will be over by then, so I better. Then JP, and I believe, Jamie, if you add your 3 up, you're still above God. But that's okay, because he's got Danny. He's 100% sure that Danny.
And if Danny wins, I'll win.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll all be having to pick second pick. I already had to pick another pick. But you got to pick. You got to pick your other pick the earliest. So if you
your other pick was like what, work 3?
Yeah, but the problem is I forgot to play the one week and I lost my MVP.
Okay, so not ideal.
But I'll tell you, one of the 2 times I've won this, that
I think I've won twice too. So
I like scored 1,500 points on the final episode. That's why I won. I was like,
because you just knew exactly how it was going to go down.
I know I got lucky.
Sweep.
Yeah.
But I went from like 6 to win. Yeah.
So Jamie, we have to vote him out immediately.
Absolutely.
He's too dangerous. He knows too much.
Gotta go. He's gotta go. We all knew
if you had papaya, I'd be eating the papaya.
We knew it was going to come to this, David. It was going to be you or me, and you gotta go, kid.
All right. Well, that's probably an amazing spot to wrap it up. We'll be here next week with another great episode. We'll see if what sort of fallout we get from Liliana and the boys.
There'll be some drama, to be sure.
Something's going to happen. And
some F words. There were some F words. Oh, they were bleeped in the.
Bleep them out? Maybe I saw a different trailer than you.
No, it was the one after the show.
Yep, there's going to be some silent
She said
swears.
That's effing stupid.
Yep.
Okay.
You divide our alliance, that's effing stupid.
And happy Thanksgiving to everyone, a day late. I had to officially put on pants today and take my sweatpants off, which is okay. That's
Sorry
fine.
for your loss.
Sorry, they'll probably
be uncomfortable again.
They'll probably be back on tomorrow. Let's be honest, right? Hit subscribe below and leave us comments. We would love to hear what you think.
We like comments.
We like them. We're chit-chatty people. Come on. And I guess that's it. Have a great weekend. Support your small businesses and Cyber Monday. And we'll see you next week.
Don't forget Giving Tuesday.
Oh, Giving Tuesday. See, it's like a whole thing now.
Tuesday's a big thing.
Well, can we have my day be Wednesday? Just send me the money on Wednesday. All right. See you guys later. Have a great night.
Bye.